Oh. Wow, good afternoon and welcome to the Vegetology Livestream. My name is Matt Edmondson and it's great to be with you on this fine, what can only be described as wintry day here in Liverpool. So great that you could be with us. Let me introduce onto the screen both Chris and Jen. Chris and Jen, how are we doing?
Good, thanks.
Yeah, good, thank you.
Very
great
good.
jumper.
Well, you know, we had to make an effort for the Christmas live streams in December. At least one of us did. That's all I'm saying. I'm just putting.
We didn't get the memo, did we, Chris?
1 out of 3 is not bad, is it? Let's be honest.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how we approach Vegetology. 1 out of 3, we're good. Welcome to our live stream. This is the Vegetology live stream. We are talking about all things Veganuary today. Myself, Chris and Jem from the Veg team are here to answer your questions. We're going to help you if you're going to do the Veganuary thing, give you some tips and some insights into how that's all going to work. Which we're quite looking forward to getting into. And Jen, you sent me some stats, didn't you, about Veganuary, which I thought would be a really interesting thing to go through. That apparently last year, over 582,000 people from 209 countries participated in Veganuary, and about 40% of them actually plan to stay vegan after doing it. 98% would recommend Veganuary to a friend, which I think is quite an interesting stat.
Super.
Yeah, you don't normally get those kind of referral rates from anything else, do you? 98% would recommend Veganuary to a friend. 50% say they saw an increase in health, energy, skin, and a reduction in body weight. And 93% said they were likely to do it again, which I find quite another really high stat. So, like I say, we're going to answer some of the questions asked by folks considering Veganuary. If you are watching this live, do say hi in the comments. Be great to connect, be great to meet with you. And if you've got any questions, do jump in and say hi. We would love to meet you. And so, yes, let's jump into this. Now, Chris, Jen, Veganuary's coming up. We've got some we've got some products that obviously help vegans during that time, which we're going to get into. But I don't actually know the answer to this question. How long has Veganuary been going? Does anyone actually know?
It's definitely
So
go on.
who are you asking now? I think it's about 5 years.
Yeah, I was going to say it's about 5 years, I think.
Yeah.
It does feel like it's a relatively new thing to me. I don't know if it feels like it's a relatively new thing to you. And it does feel like it has been getting more and more momentum over the years. I don't know if that's our observation with Veganuary, but certainly for me, it's one of the things that I've noticed it's got bigger and bigger each year. And so, Jen, I don't know if you know, but is it expected to get much bigger next year or this year?
Yeah, I think it is. I was reading, we are Veganuary are very supportive, obviously, through Veganuary, and so they are expecting it to grow again. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder what it'll be. So let's put on our predict. Well, this is not why we're here, by the way. I'm just curious to know. So last year, 582,000 people from 209 countries, right? What do you think it'll be this year? Jen, give me your prediction.
I think it'll break the 600,000 mark in terms
Okay.
of countries as well.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to say 220 countries and 625,000 people.
Okay. Chris, what's your best guess?
I think it'll break the million mark this year. I think
Oh, go big or go home, right?
absolutely everywhere, and we already know that the rates of veganism are going up. So I'm going to go 1,050,000 people.
So
Wow.
just breaking over the million barrier. Wow, I mean, Jen, I thought you were quite conservative, actually, given that we had 582,000 people last year, and it's been going 5 years. So
Yeah.
you'd expect at least maybe 100, 150,000. Chris, I like your big or, you go big or go home kind of mentality. That's quite impressive. I'm going to go in the middle because, that's my prerogative, I suppose. I'm going to sit somewhere in the middle. So we'll see who's right in a few months' time. Do we get a prize, Jen? Are we going to get a prize for the winner?
If I win, yeah.
Okay, brilliant. That prize is a all expenses paid holiday for 2 to the Maldives, right? That's
Yeah, that sounds great.
brilliant. Okay, so let's get into this now. The way we're going to do this is we've got some questions which have been sent in, which we're going to answer. As I said, if you're watching this on the live stream and you've got any questions you would like us to answer, do put them in the comments. We would love to hear from you. But we've got a chunk of questions that we're going to answer about Veganuary. And what we're going to do is we're going to assume that this is the first time you've actually tried the whole Veganuary thing, the whole vegan diet. And so we're going to assume you've not been doing it all the 5 years. But if you have, that's great. Feel free to ask your questions. But we're just going to be hopefully as straightforward as we can with the answers. So question number 1, Jen. What vitamins are commonly missed from a vegan diet if I do the whole Veganuary thing?
Okay, it's worth pointing out that there's probably vitamins missing from everybody's diets, whether you're vegan or not.
Especially in January. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But thinking in terms of animal sourced vitamins, or vitamins we get from eating animal products, or fish, you're looking at omega-3 fatty acids, DHA, EPA, that are found in high quantities in fish. Your body doesn't make these, so you need to consume them. And they are essential for brain health, heart health, eye health. So you've got omega-3 is one. B12 is in like dairy products, meat, poultry, products from an animal origin. And your body needs B12 to help release the energy from food. So if you are lacking in it, you're likely to be lacking in energy. And nobody wants that, certainly not in January.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The post-December lull, yeah.
Yeah, the other one is vitamin D3, which often comes from animal sources. You can also get it from the sun, but we all know in January that's not gonna cut it, is it?
Yeah, no, not in England.
And that's essential for immune health, for your teeth, for your bones, for your muscles. So I would say the main ones missing are omega-3, D3, and B12.
Okay, so if you're going to do the Veganuary thing, there are probably 3 key vitamins that you need to think about in terms of when you're changing your diet. They're going to be more than likely missing. So do think about those. They are quite important ones. And that's what we think is going to be missing, during January whilst you do this. Okay.
Yeah.
The next question is a similar question. Chris, I'm going to throw this one over to you. How do vegans get enough vitamins and minerals?
Great question. So, I mean, on the whole, a vegan diet is really good. Well, it can be really good. I've made the point before in these videos that because a diet can be good doesn't mean it is. Whether you're a meat eater, a omnivore, or a vegan. But if you've got a good balanced diet, so you're getting plenty of fruit and veg, plenty of leafy greens, plenty of protein-rich foods such as corn or tofu, you can get most vitamins and minerals that you need as a vegan. But it is all about that planning. As the same as any diet, as Jen said, we can be deficient in these things, whether you're a vegan, a vegetarian, or a carnivore, omnivore. So most things you can get. But Jen made a really good point that those key nutrients we mentioned there, the B12, omega-3s, EPA, DHA, and D3, they just don't appear in a vegan diet in those forms. They're the forms the body needs. So regardless of your planning, they are things that you need to consider getting from supplementation or fortified foods.
Yeah. So we're starting the whole Veganuary thing, and the Veganuary thing is it's a big deal, I think, for a lot of people, and it's actually quite a significant change to the diet. If I I'm going to make all these dietary changes, and we take these supplements to help us along the way. Do I then, Chris, just take them if let's say after 30 days I go back to my diet the way it was, do I just take the supplements for 30 days? Is that it? Or do I carry on with them? What's the best answer there?
So it really depends on the diet that you're migrating from to become vegan during Veganuary and how good and balanced that is and what you're deficient in, but B, what you intend to do next. If you've got a decent base diet, whether it's vegan or not, chances are your deficiencies will be fairly low, but you're likely to be deficient in something. But for a lot of people to go vegan in January, particularly after maybe overindulging on meats and all sorts over Christmas, it is, as you said at the very start there, it can be quite a big change to that diet, and your body will take a while to get used to it. So I think if it's a question of do I need supplements, I would say probably yes, because A, you will have deficiencies, but B, you need to protect your body from massive change in a diet anyway. But back to that thing of what happens beyond January, it's down to you. How balanced is your diet? What are those gaps? And I said this last year when we talked about Veganuary, that the one thing I guarantee that whether people carry on with it or not, or try it again, you will definitely learn something about your diet if you give it a try, because you'll automatically do more planning and a bit more research, and I'm sure you'll figure out, regardless of your diet, what you're deficient in.
That's a really interesting point, actually, and it is one of the things that has struck me over the years, is that actually people who do follow the vegan diet are so much more aware of their diet than someone who follows, say, a carnivore diet. And there is a lot more planning that has to go into it, a lot more thinking about it, because you have to get these nutrients from somewhere, and they don't just sort of fall out of the sky, do they? So you've got to plan a little bit more. And actually, that's probably not to be underestimated if you're going to try and do Veganuary. You're going to have to think about it. It's not something you can stumble into.
It's true. And going back to the very start, and the nutrients that Jen mentioned, deficiency in those nutrients, omega-3, vitamin D3 and vitamin B12, it's as rife in omnivores and carnivores as it is in vegans. The only difference is you can get them from an omnivorous diet, whereas you can't get them from a vegan diet. It doesn't mean you are getting them from an omnivorous diet. And sometimes we sometimes laugh at you get cutting comments of people trying to judge this diet or that diet. And it's normally from people who clearly don't research anything to do with the diet they're taking. They get on the high horse because they can get these things from the diet, but they're probably not.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, that's fair play. That's fair play. But I do like your comment. If you are going to do Veganuary, start your planning now. Would be one of our top tips. You are going to have to think an awful lot more about things, because I think there are so many things that if you don't follow a vegan or vegetarian diet, which you just take for granted, but actually when you start to think it through, even simple things like our omega-3 capsules. Let me see if I can find one here on my desk. I'm sure I've got one somewhere. So even simple things like the capsules here that the oil comes in, you can see those on the camera. I would never have thought until someone told me that you need a vegan version of a capsule for a vitamin. Do you know what I mean? It's like, well, hang on, it's just a capsule, isn't it? But fundamentally, that capsule is made, or usually is derived from animal product, right? And so we kind of have to think about these things. I mean, everything, you have to look at the sources of everything. Plan. would be. I think that's what I'm trying to say here is plan. Think it through. Think it through. Okay, Jen, back to you. What supplements? I mean, you talked about vitamin D3, you talked about B12, and you talked about the omega-3s with the DHAs and the EPAs.
Yeah.
Let folks know about what supplements we do need, and this is just to be totally frank and honest, this is going to be a little bit of it's not a sales pitch, but this is the offer that Vegetology is doing over Veganuary, just to help you out. Tell them about the bundle.
We have got a Veganuary starter bundle that is going to be available in the coming days, which contains all the supplements you'll need to help you through Veganuary, to support your body, to support your diet. So in it, there is going to be our VegVit, which is the daily multivitamin, which is always a good idea to have a daily multivitamin. So there's going to be a VegVit in there. There is going to be some Opti3 that we talked about, the omega-3. There's going to be B12 and D3. And there are at least 2 to 3 months supply of these vitamins within the Veganuary starter bundle. It's actually, I think we might need a drum roll as to how much.
Oh, hang on. I'm not sure which one is the drum roll on my keypad. I should label them. I can press the buttons. Hang on. No, not that one. No. I can do the round of applause. Let's do that.
I can do that after it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'll do that afterwards. Go for it.
Okay. So the retail value is over £100 of this bundle, but we're actually going to sell it for £59.98.
Very good. Very good. Okay, that's enough for that.
It is absolutely fabulous value, and it will give you all those key vitamins that we talked about to help you through Veganuary, because of course we want people to succeed at Veganuary if that's what they want to do. We want them to have the energy that, and have the nutrients they need and to stay well. So yeah, watch out on socials. We will let you know when it's available to buy, and yeah, it's going to be great. So it's a starter bundle with all you need for Veganuary.
Brilliant. That's brilliant. Very good. So do check that out. That's going to be available, like you said, in the coming days, right? So that'll be on the website, vegetology.com. You'll be able to download that. But of course, Jen, that leads me to ask a really obvious question, right? If I order the starter pack, should I wait until Jan 1st to start taking those supplements, or should I start taking them sooner rather than later?
Given that we are heading into a busy season, like we've touched on, of indulgence and maybe eating, drinking things you wouldn't normally, your meal times might be slightly different, I would start it as soon as possible. It's likely you are probably deficient in some of these nutrients and vitamins anyway. It is not going to harm you, and actually you can get your body into great shape for the start of January. You'll benefit the most if you start them now. And like we said, there's a couple of months supply, so it will last now and beyond Veganuary if you want to carry on with it as well. So yeah, great. I would start as soon as you get them. I wouldn't wait till the 1st of January because you might not notice the benefit as quickly. Especially if you start in a vegan diet. And the other thing is you can get into the habit of taking daily supplements. You can get into the habit of taking them with your breakfast. So come January, you're fully into the routine of doing that.
Yeah, that's a very good point as well. For me, supplements is all about creating the habit. And as long as you've got the habit, it's easy to do. If you've not got the habit, you tend to forget about it, and they just sit in your cupboard for months at a time.
Yeah.
We've all had that where we've thrown them out, or there's Barocca from 4 years ago stuck in the corner somewhere. It's that kind of thing, isn't it? And I think it's all about creating that daily habit. Now, Jen, in the office, we affectionately call Jen Dr. Jen. So, Chris, I'm going to go to you. Should I actually consult a doctor like Jen before doing Veganuary? Should I talk to a doctor, a real doctor, like one with proper degrees and everything?
I think everybody should talk to Dr. Jen.
Not just a PhD, yeah.
On the whole, no. I don't. For most people, you're moving to a diet that is overall very healthy, as long as you've planned it out. Obviously, if you are somebody who has got a medical history whereby you are sensitive to dietary changes, particularly extreme dietary changes, then I would say yes. Or if you're somebody who's on medication where dietary changes can change the performance of that medication, I would say yes. But on the whole, no. Just it's more about planning than anything. But I think for most people, you don't need to consult a doctor.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very good. One of the things I will say, I'm going to throw a little tip in here of myself. When I've done things where, in effect, my refined carbohydrate intake has dramatically fallen. Okay, so when I've reduced the amount of refined carbs that I have, which I would strongly recommend to everybody, by the way, I noticed that I would get quite strong headaches for the first 3 or 4 days. And it came down to dehydration. So that was just something that I noticed in me. It was solved by drinking a lot more water. Is the answer. So I didn't need to see the doctor about it. I just drank some more water. But you are changing your diet in quite significant ways. You're probably going to notice a few changes physically by doing that. So it goes without saying, if you're concerned about any of those, do talk to a doctor beforehand. But ordinarily, we think you should be okay. I think that's a fair reflection. Okay, Jen. Can I carry on taking the supplements once I stop in Veganuary? I think we've answered this with some question that we've come up, but go ahead and answer it anyway.
You absolutely can. In terms of Vegetology supplements, they are supplements that are suitable for everybody, including vegans and vegetarians. So it's not that you can only take them when you are following a vegan diet. We've got lots of customers who take our supplements because they like our sustainability stance, and that we look for, sourcing sustainable ingredients and producing them in the best sustainable way as we can. And they don't necessarily follow vegan or vegetarian diets. So they are supplements that are suitable for everybody, but they are also vegan and vegetarian. So you can carry on taking them if you find they work for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything you want to add to that, Chris?
I think that's absolutely nailed what we're about. So every product we design is all about sustainability of the ingredients, where everything's sourced down to the packaging. But as Jen said, we design our products to basically try and help improve everybody's nutritional status by a little bit. But because we know there are groups at risk of deficiency from certain things, so be it a vegan or vegetarian or someone living in a certain area, we use elevated levels of certain vitamins and minerals that will help those groups of people, but also help everybody else.
Yeah, so if you are a carnivore, you can still take the products. And actually, the stat that we read at the start, which said 40% of the people were going to keep the vegan diet, which means 60% are going to return back to either a vegetarian diet or a carnivore diet at the end of it. You don't nullify or negate the effects of the supplements by changing to either a vegetarian or a carnivore diet, is in effect what we're saying. And you will still feel the benefits of them, especially the VegVit. If you get the starter pack, that thing's amazing. Anyway, Chris, whilst you're on the screen, let me ask you a question about calcium, which we've not really talked about before. How do I get enough calcium? Because in my head, calcium is milk, right? So how do I get calcium if I'm no longer drinking milk with the vegan diet? So
dietary sources, it's mainly leafy greens. So things like kale are very good, broccoli as well. But it often features in things like tofu. I think it's used to thicken tofu, for instance, so those kind of protein preparations. But calcium's a really important one to consider, maybe not for Veganuary because your levels won't drop dramatically during a month, but when people do adopt a vegan diet for the first time, and they will probably notice their calcium levels drop, and it's just changes in the body and how much of that calcium from your diet is actually being absorbed and kept. So it is a really important one to just keep an eye on, because it's likely to be something that deficiency can creep in with.
Okay. And you can get it from eating leafy greens like kale, which, no offense to people that grow kale, is just the worst vegetable on the planet from my point of view. But I appreciate a lot of people do like it, and you can get calcium from that. Broccoli, long stem broccoli, it's good for me. I'll get my calcium from there.
Yeah, I think any greens that contain high levels of calcium and iron tend to taste fairly sharp, let's call it. But yeah, that's nature.
That is nature. Anyway, we should start a debate. Kale, yes or no? Let's put a poll out. So following on, Chris, from the calcium question. We've got a question here from Michael Greger who says, I am wondering why you have calcium in your multivitamin. So he thinks it might be unsafe in supplement form for your health heart. So do we want to address that?
Yes. So honestly, these kind of things are a little bit frustrating because you get information on blogs that kind of get half a story and don't really explain the context. There's a concern that if you take very, very high levels of just calcium on its own, it could cause some kind of detriment to your health, calcification of the arteries or poor absorption. But that's not what happens in reality. So when we use calcium in VegFit, the reason we use it is exactly what I just mentioned, because most people in these kind of diets are susceptible to deficiency, but we combine it with the other key ingredients that it needs. So calcium works really well with vitamin D, vitamin K, and some other minerals. So using it in the correct forms, in the correct combinations, it's really good for you. It's certainly not detrimental to your health. But also, a lot of these studies that blogs end up being based on, they don't take into account other dietary intake of other nutrients either. So it can be a really good headline and get people kind of on a website for clickbait, but in reality, the reason we put it in there is because it's good for you.
Yep, that's fair enough. So we don't think it's unsafe in supplement form for your health heart the way that we've done it. We actually think it's healthy for you and good. What about, I mean, we don't do one here, but I know people that take, for example, the VegFit, and we've had questions, can I take a calcium and magnesium supplement alongside that? That's a popular supplement at the moment. So what do you think about that?
You can, because in VegFit, we only use a fairly small amount of both calcium and magnesium, purely because we don't want a pill that's about, or tablet that's about this long. So
they are huge, those calcium and magnesium tablets. I'm not going to lie. They are like course tablets, aren't they?
Exactly. But you will find that in most diets, you have enough of the surrounding nutrients to help absorb calcium and magnesium anyway. But if you're taking such a supplement alongside VegFit, VegFit contains all of those things that help too. So yes, absolutely. If you want more calcium and magnesium from a supplement that we offer in VegFit, by all means, take a combination.
And would you take that with the VegFit, or would you take it at a separate time?
Doesn't really matter, if I'm honest, because it's typically the oily vitamins actually that help that absorption, and the body holds onto those. So it's not a case that they get used up during the day, and so it matters whether you take one at breakfast and one at dinner time. But I'm always a big advocate for taking supplements on a morning, to be honest, together, because you get the most benefit during the day.
Yeah, no, and this comes back to what we're talking about, where habits are concerned, isn't it? Just create the habit, take it with your breakfast in the morning. As long as your breakfast is more than half a slice of toast, you need a bit of food in there to get the digestion going. So, Chris, final question, and I'm not sure who's asked this because I can't see the name, but can being a vegan impact my hormone levels?
Wow, there's a really good question, and we don't have any more information on that, do we? There's not an elaboration of what they relate, because there are two elements here. If it's in relation to gut health and hormones of that kind, then absolutely yes, in a positive way. So becoming a vegan typically means your gut is in a healthier form, which means you're producing more of the right kind of hormones to manage weight and whether you feel full, so they can help with weight management and just general gut health. But also studies have shown that a lot of vegans are producing higher levels of testosterone and estrogen, obviously in males and females respectively, too. So yes, in a nutshell, I would say on the whole, it impacts hormones in a positive way.
In a positive way. And from what you were saying there, it impacts gut health in a positive way as well.
Yeah, gut health, just general blood sugar levels. You see a lot of people that have suffered with type 2 diabetes can see that reducing, even recovering by adopting a vegan diet. It's all about getting that, I suppose, that homeostasis, to use a scientific phrase, right in the gut. Your gut is happier, if you like.
So what is it then that about the vegan diet that, I don't know if you know the answer to this question, but what is it about the vegan diet that causes the gut to be happier?
It's back to that thing from the very start about planning and having a good balanced diet, because if you're going vegan and taking it seriously, you will be consuming more leafy greens, more good proteins, more seeds, more fruits, rather than maybe lots of junk food. That's not to say vegans don't consume junk food. I've got many vegan friends that live on instant noodles, which there's probably more nutrition in the packaging than there is in the noodles. But it's just, I'm generalizing a little bit, but on the whole, if you've got a good balanced vegan diet, it's just, it's overall better for the gut. You're throwing more positive stuff for the gut to deal with.
That's interesting. And again, I don't know if you know this answer, but one of the questions, if you suffer from IBS, do you think the vegan diet again would help with something like that?
I don't know what Jen thinks, but everything I've read suggests it shouldn't do any harm, because again, you're giving the body more anti-inflammatories typically from that diet, and more things that will help get the balance right. But I don't want to make any medical claims, because got to be careful.
Yeah. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. So, Jen, let's put you back on the screen. There you go. Top tips for Veganuary. What are some of the top tips going on? How can we help people?
Yeah, so I've been asking lots of our Vegetology followers on Instagram to send in some of their top tips. So, number one, get your supplements sorted. That was a tip. And obviously, we've got our Veganuary starter bundle that you can buy. Plan, we've already mentioned this. Plan, you can use Pinterest as a source of vegan recipes. There's all kinds of help out there. We've got a Vegetology Pinterest account, and we've pinned some vegan recipes as well, so you could follow them. If you are a snacker, plan ahead and find some vegan snacks that you're going to enjoy. That was a good tip. If
you're a snacker, is that an official? Is that like an official name? Are you a snack? It sounds very scarce. I mean, I know, Jen, you are a scouser, and I've lived here most of my life. But snacker. Are you a snacker? I don't know.
If you consume a lot of snacks of an evening or during the day.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's actually a T-shirt thing. We should just get snacker written on it. It's like a T-shirt brand.
So that falls under the planning ahead. Plan some snacks that you'll enjoy. If you know you've got some birthdays or meals out coming up in January, look ahead at those restaurants and think, have they got meals that you will enjoy, meals you can eat? A couple of the motivational tips that people gave were, don't give up, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Mistakes won't erase your progress. It's not like a calorie controlled diet where you will fall off the wagon and put weight on. If you make a mistake, carry on. It's fine. You are still going to be making progress. Somebody else said, don't try to be perfect, just do your best. So lots of people were saying it isn't a case of, you've got to do it perfectly every day for 31 days. Try your best and you'll learn the most that way. And the last thing I'd say is We Are Veganuary are great at, drumming up support. I think you can sign up to some email tips from them. So it's worth checking them out. We will, of course, on the Vegetology social channels, we will be championing people through as well through January. So plan, get your supplements ready, get your snacks ready.
Snacker. Chris, we should create like a supplement vegan snack bar and call it Snacker. I can see the product now in my head. I'm there, the Snacker bar.
Yeah. And I think the last thing I'd add is Chris has got some videos on our Vegetology YouTube channel that are worth watching as well, where he covers some different aspects of trying Veganuary. So have a look at those as well.
Yeah, they're very good videos, actually, Chris. I don't want to get you too big-headed, but they were well done.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, those are like robots. And I like what you said there at the end, Jen, where you were talking about how you're going to go through this, and if you've never done it before, it may not go perfect. And if you're like a lot of people who kind of go dry January, for example, I'm not going to drink, and then January 3rd comes around and you've had a glass of martini or whatever it is, and that's it. That whole of January is then undone. Just pick yourself up, start again, begin again. You're not striving for perfection. You're just striving for something. Give it your best shot. And if you if you don't get it right, don't derail the rest of the month. I thought that was a really good tip, because everyone's full of good intentions on January 1st, right? Everyone makes New Year's resolutions, but not that many people sort of live with those New Year's resolutions for the whole of January, let alone the whole year. So yeah, do pick yourselves up. That's fabulous, awesome. Jen, anything else from you?
Nope.
All good. Chris, anything else from you, bud?
No, I thought they're all great tips. Other than to say, do try and stick with it, because if you're getting things like fatigue in the first few days, it will pass very quickly. And fatigue is one of the biggest, I suppose, side effects, if you like, of changing your diet. But I guarantee you, within a week, 10 days, you'll feel more energized than ever. So you kind of got to deal with the dip and enjoy the benefits afterwards.
It's a bit like working out, isn't it? It's painful the first few times, but after that, you start to get into it and feel the benefits of it. So I'm told. I wouldn't know, but see. Brilliant. So thank you so much for joining us. We're going to end the live stream there. We will be back possibly again just before Christmas. But if we don't see you before Christmas, have a very Merry Christmas. Great that you could join in today and watch us. Thanks again for your questions. Jen, if we do the one before Christmas, what are we talking about? Do we know?
No. Surprise topic.
Surprise topic. It's not been planned yet. Whatever the topic is going to be, sending you questions like you have been doing, and we will love to answer them in these live streams. Actually, quite good fun. I enjoy the laughter and the banter. Happy December. Hope the run up to Christmas is not too crazy for you. Thank you so much for joining us. From myself, from Chris, from Jen. Bye for now.
Bye.